Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Big Games, Big Plays, Big Moments. On this show, we will recap the moments from the NFL free agency that stuck out to us. We will talk about March Madness, and we will also look at the MLB offseason and preview the regular season. I will be joined on the show by my good friend, Darrell Lane, who is the host of his own show on Barbershop Sports Radio.
Good to see you, Joe. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
You look vibrant.
Thank you.
I wish I looked as good as you. You look suited and booted, man.
I know it's always good to be suited and booted.
Yeah, it looks smooth out there, man.
So first question for you, and we got to talk about NFL free agency. What was the biggest move?
Biggest move, Odell Beckham. I think it was a huge move because I think he is the biggest star out there. He has the biggest, attraction. He is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And he went to a franchise in the Browns that are making moves. They're making money moves, right? And I think he's going to be a big addition. So I would say Odell Beckham has been the biggest addition so far.
I would also agree with that, but I also look at Le'Veon Bell. Why do I look at Le'Veon Bell? Because I think it's going to help with the development of Sam Darnold. Now, what were your thoughts on the Bills' moves?
Man, see, Joe, you got me in a hard place. You got me in a hard place right now. Not the biggest fan of the Cole Beasley move. I don't think it works well for what Josh Allen does well as a quarterback. Also, I would say, getting Frank Gore means nothing. I do like John Brown. But, John Brown has been hit or miss at points in his career. He's been kind of inconsistent. Really good in Arizona, kind of the law. Was decent with Baltimore. So we have to see how that works out with the John Brown. But the offensive line, they make some additions to the offensive line, which I think will help. But I would say the moves have been okay. They've been a little bit uninspired. I would have preferred for them to see them get a linebacker like C.J. Mosley, a guy that can plug up the run and can cover the pass.
I don't know if it would have made sense to spend $85 million though on C.J. Mosley. That is a lot of money, and it's one of the moves that I think the Jets might regret in a couple of years.
I'm a big C.J. Mosley fan, man. Dude can play.
He can play. He's one of the best linebackers, but it's a lot of money. Now, what are your thoughts on the Browns moves?
I'm not, I've told you this. I'm not the biggest fan of the Odell Beckham move. I think it can cause problems. I'm also not the biggest fan necessarily bring Kareem Hunt. Let's remember, right, guys, the Browns are a young locker room. And a lot of young, impressionable players. And we bring Odell and we bring Kareem Hunt, especially Odell too. Because here's the thing: is Odell a leader? I would say no. Is he a guy you want to give him the pregame speech in the locker room? I would say a no. And is he the guy that can tell them, hey, be like me? I've done this before. Listen, let me tell you about Odell. Right, postseason. That's where the Browns are because we've moved past that. We have expectations for the Browns. You know what Odell Beckham did in that Green Bay Packers game?
Dropped 3 passes.
Yeah, and you know what we remember that game for? The boat trip, hey, to Miami before a playoff game. That's what we remember Odell doing. So listen, I don't want to see any videos surfacing if the Browns are in the playoffs. We see Baker Mayfield, Odell just chilling up in Miami before a playoff game. That's not a good look, and that is not what you want from one of your leaders.
It's kind of hard to chill in Lake Erie.
Yes, it is.
But hey, if you go down to Florida, but I hope that Odell Beckham can grow up just a little bit and kind of become a leader. I mean, at least they have Jarvis Landry, who's going to help.
Grow up? Have you seen his hair?
I have not seen it.
Have you seen his hair?
I have not seen you mean the yellow hair?
Yeah, he's blonde. And I don't want to go there, but I got to stop myself. But he's blonde. Let me just put it to you that way.
Yeah.
That's a little goofy.
I mean, it is. But I would also rather have divas in my locker room. I mean, sometimes divas can really care about the sport that they love. And so Odell Beckham we definitely could call him a diva, but he's got a passion for the game he loves. And he works really hard at it. So I appreciate that.
And I'd also tell you this, and this is what I've always said. I'm not a big fan of paying wide receivers. I wasn't a big fan of paying Antonio Brown and then trying to get Antonio Brown. I believe a wide receiver, it's the icing on the cake. It's, people talk about the car, right? When you get a car, people care how cool the car looks. No, you need the freaking engine. That's what's more important than how damn cool a car looks, right? Mm-hmm. Odell Beckham is that icing. Odell Beckham is, how cool the car looks. He's that sex appeal. He's that cool factor, right? The flashy plays, the explosive plays. But here's what you need to win in the NFL. You need a quarterback, you need a pass rusher, you need a tackle. right? That's what you need. Shut down corner. That's what you need. Wide receiver, look at New England. Well, you know what they have? A bunch of little slot receivers and a tight end in Gronkowski who can't run. Yet, they won the Super Bowl. So,
it's all about the quarterback, in other words. Let's look at March Madness, as it is that time of year. Now, who do you have winning it all?
I got Duke. Duke has the best team in college basketball. I don't think it's really close. You have 3 top 4 players, I would think, and then from the point guard from Murray State. I would say those are the top 4 players in college basketball. I don't think there's really any argument about that with Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and Cam Reddish. I think you also have Tyus Jones, who's a really good point guard. You might make an argument he's the best. He might be the best college point guard in the nation, or top 5 point guard in the nation. And you have Mike Krzyzewski, and we all know how great Coach K is. Coach K is the best college basketball coach of all time. So they have a lot of talent. They have a great coach, and they're peaking. I think they're going to be peaking at the right time. Zion's coming back from injury, getting Zion right, getting that chemistry back, and they're going to be a dangerous team. They're going to be a dangerous team.
I can't disagree with that. The only team that I could see maybe is Virginia, and that is if their defense is good and if DeAndre Hunter steps up and can be a 20-point scorer for them in the tournament. Now, who's your sleeper?
The UB Bulls. Bulls Mafia. Here's where I'm going. I got to represent the city. I got love for the city. I think we're well coached. I think we have a lot of seniors, a lot of veterans on our team that know how to play. We were ranked as high as 13th in the country, I believe. I was looking at one of Joe Lenardi's bracketology. The Bulls were a 5th seed. And if the Bulls fall in the right region, they can raise hell, and they're going to be able to do some things. They're going to be a team that you do not want to play.
The only other team I like the Bulls pick because they have a lot of seniors, but Murray State. Jabba Morant could maybe make an argument for being a top pick. And it will be a top pick in the NBA draft, but maybe even the number 1 overall.
And I also want to say that to your point, guard play is super important in the NCAA tournament. You got to have guys that can handle the ball, not turn the ball over, and score and set up your teammates. That's what you're going to need from a guard. And we all remember Kemba Walker, the impact Kemba Walker made that year in 2011 when UConn won. Having a guard is very important.
Shabazz Napier.
Yes, Shabazz Napier, Lamb, Jeremy Lamb. No, yeah, Jeremy Lamb. Mm-hmm. That whole team. Calhoun. Man, special.
Who's your breakout player in the March Madness?
Jordan Nora. I grew up with the kid all the way from pre-K to high school. He was the ACC's most improved player this year. He's averaging 20 points per game for Louisville. He's a good scorer. He can shoot. He can handle the ball. He's a really good scorer. They do a lot of good stuff with screen and rolls with him. And so I think Jordan. I think when Jordan gets in the bright lights of March Madness, he's going to show up, and he's going to show people. He's damn good.
Is he a guard? I don't know.
Small forward, power forward.
Mm-hmm. So he's definitely going to be fun to watch.
Yes.
For me, the breakout player is, I talked about him a little bit already, but DeAndre Hunter. I think he's a really good defensive player, and I also think he's got the ability to shoot threes and create off the dribble, which I think will help Virginia make it past the first round and even the first game, unlike last year. Now, the last question I want to ask you about March Madness is, in your opinion, who's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft?
First name, Zion. Last name, Williamson. Zion, I think it's really been kind of established, right? He's going number 1. I don't even think it's close. I think people out his knee still go number 1. He's a freak athlete. He's going to put fans in the seats. Everybody knows him. There is a national narrative around him. And Zion's extraordinary. I mean, Zion's fun to watch. When Zion be jamming on people, be dunking on people. I was watching dunk contest during All-Star Weekend. I was like, damn, we need some Zion Williamson up in this. That'd be cool.
The dunk contest was not fun this year.
I'm sorry, I almost cursed. I stopped myself. I was a little bit too hyped. I apologize out there. I should wash my mouth out with soap. But no, seriously, Zion. Got Zion being number 1 overall pick.
The only other guy I could argue is Jabba Morant, and that's just because he's a great point guard, and he's going to average 20 points and 10 assists, and that's the only other guy that I could see maybe making case for number 1. But I agree with Zion Williamson. So AL East.
See, so tough. Do we go with the Yankees or we don't go with the Red Sox? That's where it starts. I think what I'm going to say is I'm going to go with the Red Sox, right? I think they're still the best overall team in baseball by a wide margin. They really weren't challenged in the postseason. They ran through everybody. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox. I think the Yankees, they could have a better season, but I think the Red Sox all around are a better team. But the Yankees will be right there with them. The Yankees are an extremely talented team, and I would say the Yankees are the second best team in the AL in general. So it's the two best teams in the AL.
I disagree with that statement. I would say it's the Astros, but we can get into that. I would also say this. The Red Sox might have one of those World Series after effects where the team comes out a little bit sluggish in April and the Yankees get off to a quick start and the Red Sox are playing catch up all year. I mean, they did win 8 games last year, most ever in the Red Sox history. So there's definitely concerns about them keeping that sustained level of excellence.
Yeah, but I will say this. I believe Severino's hurt right now. He will not be playing opening day, so that could lead to a slow start when your best pitcher is out.
Agreed with that. Let's look at the AL West.
Oh, Houston Astros. You know, I knew this guy. He was a good friend of mine, Noah Taluki. He put me on to this guy named JV, Justin Verlander. And Justin Verlander is my favorite pitcher, actually. Love Justin Verlander because Noah kept talking about him so damn much. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with the Astros. I like their roster, and you are probably right. I think the Yankees have more upside if they were to play each other in a series. But I think the Astros are the second best overall team, especially for the regular season. I think they'll be very good. You got Carroll, you got Altuve, you got all of them, you got Springer. So I think they'll be very, very good.
Now, turning our attention to the NL just a little bit, let's look at the NL East. Who would you have coming out?
Nationals. I'm going to go with the Nationals. You know, they lost Bryce Harper. They really bumped up their pitching staff. I think they're going to have something to prove this year, you know. They didn't make the playoffs last year, you know, kind of like a black mark a little bit. You know, they never got to the big game. They never got to an NLCS with Bryce Harper, I believe.
Yeah, that's completely correct. I mean,
so I think they're going to be on a mission to show something. And that pitching staff is going to be really freaking good. And I always say this, the pitcher controls the game of baseball. If you have a really good pitching staff, you know, that's going to help you a lot, especially when your bats aren't hot that day.
I disagree with that, but I do like the pitching staff of the Nationals. I would say it's the Phillies. Now, I go and I look at their lineup and I see Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Gene Segura, Rhys Hoskins. It's a loaded lineup. And then you've got Aaron Nola and Jake Arrieta as the front two. Now, there is concern about the back end of that rotation and maybe a little bit at the closer and bullpen spot. But I think that offense is going to be very dynamic, and I think that they're going to have a very good chance of winning that division. Now, as for the NL West.
The Dodgers. I'm going with the Dodgers. They've represented the NL the last 2 years. I think still they are the most talented team. I think if things aren't going well, they will make another trade. For example, they made the Manny Machado trade, and Manny Machado, even though he was being a lazy, you know what, at points, he was being kind of, he helped them a lot. He was another bat in their lineup. I think they'll be very good.
They made the World Series in 2 years in a row, so they haven't won.
And they're my favorite to make it to the third. I have the Dodgers. Representing the NL.
Let's go NL Central.
Brewers. That series between the Dodgers and the Brewers last year took years off my life. I remember one of the games went 18 innings. I was sitting back at home, right, in my dorm. It was like a Friday night, right? And, you know, I'm watching sports, right? My roommate, Quentin, right, from France. Quentin's like, Darrell. He's like, you know, you're watching these games. I'll watch it with you. I'm like, okay. And then it ends up getting to like 2:30. He's like, oh my gosh, only 2 points? Only 2 points?
I think I remember this.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. So then he goes to bed, and I'm sitting here, and it's like 3 almost. And actually, I have wrestling practice. I practice the next morning, and we have to get up at like 7. So then I'm like, listen, man, this is like the 16th inning. These teams can't do anything. Peace out. See you later. But the Brewers are really good. They had the Dodgers dead to right at points in that series. The Brewers are a really good team, and I think the Brewers will be a team to be reckoned with.
Plus, they've got good young pitchers coming up. Brandon Wimbush is a nice guy that I like, and he's going to help a lot of help the Brewers. But I do want to say the Cardinals. And I want to say the Cardinals because I am a Jake Flaherty fan, and I like Alex Reyes when he eventually comes up, and then I look at their offense, and I say Paul Goldschmidt, Marcell Ozuna. And I know I look at offenses a lot, but I do think that in baseball it's becoming a lot more of an offensive game than it is a pitching game.
I would agree with that.
Let's look at the MVP. And I know we have a while before we have to make picks, but.
MVP. Okay. NL or AL?
AL.
AL MVP. I could say Mookie. I think Mookie is the best player in the AL. Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, biggest bat in the sport. I think most people would agree with that. If you like home runs, I think it'll be a great story. Plays for the Yankees, gold mark franchise in Major League Baseball, gold mark franchise in North American League Sports. I'm going to go with Aaron Judge.
I agree with that one. It's kind of funny how you said that because I think Aaron Judge is going to hit 40 home runs, driving at least 100. And I think that offense of the Yankees is what's going to carry them. Let's look. And then the NL. Who would be the MVP?
NL MVP. Harper. I'm going to go with Bryce. I think Bryce is going to have a big year. I think he's going to have a big year. He's going to remind people how freaking good he is. Because sometimes we forget. I know because Mike Trout's done what he's doing. Mookie Betts was really good last year. But we forget. Like Bryce Harper was kind of like the LeBron James of baseball for a while. He was this young guy on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school from when he was in Vegas. And everybody knew who Bryce Harper was. Bryce Harper was supposed to be the guy. So I think Bryce Harper's going to remind us a little bit of that. I think he's going to remind us a little bit of that.
Funny story. When I was with the Indian Scouts, I remember that me and Clint, who was the scout for the Indians, we were talking about Bryce Harper and what made him such an attractive prospect. And so I've always loved watching Bryce play. And he's just a great outfielder, great defensively, and very good offensively.
And violent swing. A violent swing. Has a very violent swing.
I mean, he can hit it. I mean, I think he's hit some of the farthest home runs in baseball.
Yes, he can.
And then who would be your Cy Young winner in the AL?
Damn. See, DeGrom, no. Let me think. In the AL. You know what? Severino. I'm going to go with Severino. Severino was proven postseason, can get exposed. But in the regular season, he's a really good pitcher, and he throws hard. So I'm going to go with Severino. And besides, and also too, right? The Yankees are going to get a lot of leads because their offense is so good. Then Severino's going to be able to let that fastball go.
This might be the homer in me, but I'm going to go Bauer. I think he's finally realized his potential. He's got so many different pitches that he can throw. He's got a fastball, a breaking ball, a changeup. And I think that the Indians are going to go as the pitching goes. And I think that one of their pitchers will get recognized because of that.
Well, Joe, couldn't I make the argument he's the second best pitcher on the team? he's not the Cy Young winner. Corey Kluber is.
But Kluber is starting to decline. That's what I feel.
That's true. Well, let's remember this about Trevor Bauer. When they played the Astros that last game, Trevor Bauer was what you call awful. Remember that?
That was a playoff game.
I believe that was the last game before they got eliminated. That was the last game of the sweep. It was a sweep.
It was painful.
Yeah, it was the third game. Yeah, so Trevor Bauer was the guy on the mound. So, so Trevor Bauer's had his moments too. But yeah, I think Trevor Bauer was really good. Really good.
Now, Rookie of the Year in the AL.
Oh, I'm blanking the names right now. It was the hitter we talked about for the Blue Jays.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.?
Yeah, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Really good prospect. I was looking at the MLB, like they come out with their, for the prospect
Top
rankings,
50,
right?
yeah.
Hell of a player. Home run potential. I'm talking about this dude's a big, thick man, and he's going to hit a lot of balls. I don't know how he's going to be defensively, probably maybe DH, maybe. Don't know how valuable he's going to be on that. In terms of offense, in terms of scoring, in terms of, pitting fear in pitchers, I think he will do that.
Like father, like son is all I can say. I mean, I agree with the Vlad Guerrero pick. Now for the NL.
Who's the outfielder for the Nationals?
Victor Robles.
Victor Robles. I'm going to have to go with Victor Robles. I think also, and this is also I'm going to go with him too. Bryce Harper's gone, more opportunities, right? You need a fresh, young star to kind of step up. And I think also it will be a good story for the writers, right? It's going to be a good story.
I like Peter Alonso, and I know that he's not a household name, but he led the minor leagues in home runs and RBIs. And I think the Mets are going to have a really good team this year and an offense that can surround Noah Syndergaard, Jacob deGrom, and Zach Wheeler.
Well, Joe, everybody's thought apparently the best prospect in the Mets organization is Tim Tebow, apparently.
Oh, man. Man, don't get me started on Tim Tebow. We could be here for a while.
Yeah, could be. I love Tim, though.
I love the man. He's a great person. But I don't know if he switched sports to just get attention. I mean, he's not going to make the majors. He's never going to make it. And I hate to say that about any player, but if he gets anything, it'll be a cameo in September.
Actually, I'm a big Tim Tebow fan. Actually, I think he's pretty awful on the field, but I'll say this: he has some of the highest intangibles I've ever seen. Like, he is a leader, and he's a guy I follow. I like Tim Tebow. Inspirational dude.
Now, manager of the year for AL.
Aaron Boone, if the Yankees are able to unseat the Red Sox in the division, I would go with Aaron Boone.
I like that. I would also say, this is my sleeper team, and it's going to reflect on the manager, Kevin Cash for the Rays. Why do I like Kevin Cash? I think that Blake Snell, Brett Honeywell will eventually come up this year, and then Willie Adames. They've got a lot of good young talent, and I think the Rays won 90 games last year. I think they could easily win 92, 93, make a wild card. And I think that those teams that are really the underdogs at the beginning of the season really help the manager when it comes to Manager of the Year awards. Now, as for the NL.
I'm blanking. What's the Nationals manager's name? I forgot his name.
Man, you got me on that one. I would say, they've changed managers 3 or 4 times in the last 3 years.
I know. That's why. Okay. The Washington Nationals manager will get NL Manager of the Year. They don't have Bryce Harper. I think it'll be also, like I said, writers like stories. That's what fuels the beast that is the media, what fuels the beast that is professional sports. It's going to be a really good story. If they're able to win the division, if they're able to get a wild card, like, hey, we did this. We were better without Bryce Harper, one of the best players in the game of baseball. I think it's a good story. I think he gets the award.
I like that pick. I would also say Padres and A.J. Preller. Now, why do I like A.J. Preller? Because, actually,
well, I'm going to say he can get NL Coach of the Year if he can get Manny Machado to play hard consistently.
He is their general manager. So, I mean, he will win general manager of the year if they go out and they have a good season. But I would say it'll be Andy Green. Now, why is it going to be Andy Green? Because Andy Green is going to help that young talent develop. And I think the Padres will make a wild card run. And I think that'll look good on Andy Green's resume. And I think that's it for the awards. But I want to end with 3 things.
Okay.
And it concerns the fantasy baseball. Always take young pitchers. Young pitchers have the best chance of having 30-plus starts. And so I look at Walker Buehler, Jake Flaherty, Jamison Taillon. Those guys can help your team and aren't going to go as high as maybe the Chris Sales, the Max Scherzers. And they're going to be very valuable at the position they're getting drafted. Also, make sure to take an outfielder in the first couple of rounds. You want to make sure that you have an outfielder that's a star to supplement your team and surround your supporting cast with. And then finally, and to end, there's a lot of great first basemen. I talked about Peter Alonso on this show. I think he could really have a great season when he comes up. And so you want to grab positions that might be not as deep when you're looking at the earlier rounds. Now, our next show, we will be talking about the NFL draft, previewing the NBA playoffs, and also maybe talking a little bit about baseball. Thank you and have a good night.